So, London-Edinburgh-London is only 8 days away. Not long at all. So, as I've been doing these periodic updates, kind of put it on YouTube, today is only 8 days away until London-Edinburgh-London. So, as an update in terms of what I've been doing over the past 8 days or so, at the moment, feeling very positive in terms of where I am, and I'm kind of being ready for London for Lell. Where I left off at some point, end of last week. I think I did a video maybe Thursday or so. So Friday I did not much. Oh, that was because I was riding a long distance on Friday. That's why. So what I did on Friday was I had planned in that I was going to do a long distance ride. To get some, it could be the last long distance one before London-Edinburgh-London. So I had plotted a route which was going to be around Lincolnshire and up to the Humber Louth, round Peterborough, back again. I've done that a number of times. But I thought, fuck it, let's go all the way across Wales instead, because why not? At some point, I'm going to be old and not going to have the opportunities to do it. So I thought, well, why the hell not? So I did. So the route which I plotted originally was leaving here, go across to basically the Wrexham area of Wales, then all the way across to Holyhead, go to where Holyhead is a long breakwater which goes round and protects the ferries when they're coming in the port, kind of thing. But as it sticks all the way out at the end of Wales, well, why not ride to the end of that? So I did. And then the routes I was planning on doing was come back along the North Wales coast, get to Chester, and then from Chester would start to deviate off and go through Stoke-on-Trent and back to Nottingham, which would have given me about 600 kilometres. That's the original plan, but then things changed. There was a certain family change, which meant that I was going to go and drop in Glossop instead. We'll go back to the Peak District and then on to up back to Nottingham. So it would have made it 660 or so kilometres. So that was the plan. So on Friday, I did my usual full work day. I woke up early. One of the things about what I do is kind of like my alarm on like this morning went off at 5:38 a.m. So I was awake by maybe 5:45 last Friday. Did my full work day as you normally do. Employment, being a dad, and I'm not sponsored for this or paid professional, so money. So I did my day job, and then as they finished the job, had all my stuff really sorted, and then I set off riding across maybe 6:30ish. Purposefully went for lower power, went for lower pace, just to make it so I could sustain for a long period of time rather than going off out the gun and kind of like look at the power meter. So I switched it off. The power meter was running. It's just that I wasn't focused on it. I was focusing on just ride to feel. So Friday night, I went all the way across to a really lovely place, Ecclesworth. And that was the first point. By then it's starting to get dark. People were moving around between pubs and all the rest of it. So there was two fellas going into the bar. I asked them, "Where's the Chinese, please?" So I found the Chinese takeaway, sat on the step, a Chinese takeaway, which was good. Then from there on, it was kind of like into the going across the Cheshire Plains and Shropshire Plains and that area. Eventually coming up to Rwabon. We're going across the Welsh border into Rwabon, and then from there was a 24-hour garage, which I think is new. Well, in terms of, it's probably not new, it's just been redeveloped and redone since I lived in that area 15 more years ago. So the 24-hour garage, could get some food and all the rest of it in there. From that, ridden on to Llangollen. By the time I reached Llangollen, it was maybe, I don't know, 1 a.m, 1:30ish too. And Llangollen was quiet. It was really nice. So because it was a warm, still night as well, it was good conditions to just keep on riding through. So I took a couple of photos, then jumped onto the A5. A5, you can go over the top, going through Corwin and that area, going out. Hardly any traffic. It was beautiful, really nice. Nice steady climbing up over the rises. Then you get to drop eventually down into Betsy Coed. Oh, one of the places I thought, I'll stop there and get food. Of course, It's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's not open, or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I shot past that anyway. I was really comfortable. I was really, really comfortable. So that was good. Got down to Betsy Coed for dawn. Found 24-hour garage on the way in. Had food. Betsy Coed is still definitely asleep. Then going out from Betsy, going over to Capel Curig. It's an area which I've known as a teenager. Lots of fun. Lots of stories that the kids won't know for quite a few years yet. And then there were a lot of familiar places. I was lovely going through that area. And then as you climb up towards where the Capel Curig Outdoor Centre is, where various friends have worked over the years, lots of history of kind of going down the rapids and the waterfalls that's in that valley. Going over then to the Penny Pass, shot down to Llanberis, kind of seeing all the morning walkers getting ready to go up Snowdon. And then Llanberis, had breakfast, or second breakfast, third breakfast, or whatever it was. Then onwards from Llanberis, there's a really nice part that goes through the trees and the greenery down into Bangor. So I used that, which took me onto the Britannia Bridge. I hadn't ridden before, cross Britannia Bridge, and then to the long name place that I know that Anna can say it. I'm not even going to bother attempting saying it because I'll mangle it. The longest name in the UK, that one. Train station there, took a photo. Then from there, the old A5 all the way across to Holyhead. Nice, sweet, nice ride. Got to Holyhead, turned around onto the breakwaters, took some photos at the end, sent a couple of messages. And then on the way back, kind of like as I was coming along the beachfront, it's like really fancy mini donuts with sugar on top. Couldn't find any anywhere. So I asked a random motorbiker, where can I get donuts from? So I ended up going into Tesco's with him. And I was like, yes, success, Tesco's donuts. So I got these Tesco's donuts and sat on a bench outside, and a lovely old Welsh lady and her daughter kind of said, can I sit down next to you? Yeah, sure, if you really want to. I might smell a bit. So I shared donuts with them, chatted about cycling and Geraint Thomas and various other bits and pieces, which was really nice. Then all the way across Anglesey back again, across the legendary place which is Stanley Embankment. If you're a kayaker, you'll know about Stanley Embankment. A lot of fun. And then from there back into Menai Bridge, across into Bangor, all the way along the North Wales coast. This time I didn't do Great Orme. I didn't bother doing that. I went around the back of the Great Orme instead. Then hit various places along there, grabbing food as I flew through. Got to the place which was beyond Conway, Rill. It was a shithole. Not a fan of that place. Just seemed so ill. I think that's the best way of describing it. It's great for getting calories, lots of high calorie food, if you're burning that high calorie food. If you're not, it just seems grim. Yeah, that's the only thing I could describe it as. Anyway, from there, going on to, got some pizza and all the rest of it, got myself sorted, then carried on again. There was a few big biker groups out. It was a nice weather, so there was rumbling through of big motorcycles. I kind of felt like being a cheeky shit and kind of going to stand at the bikers bar and say, oh, look at me. But I wasn't. I was professional. So I kept going, and then got to around the back of Chester, coming the old way that I used to go in and out, around the back of where the Airbus plane fabrication place is, which I haven't been for ages. Crossing to Chester, reached Chester early evening, and it's the way that it was quite nice just to people watch for a bit and just stand and I used to live here. It's a nice place. I quite like Chester. And then from there, kind of going back into Cheshire Plain, there was very little in certain points, and then it got to the point where I got to Knutsford services on the M6, that kind of area, and restocked and things. A couple of things that I did learn over the course of this ride. If you got the tank on the bike, kind of like the big tank, which is great for carrying lots of water, but then just stick whole loads of ISO tabs in. I had been keeping it clean and keeping it tab free and sugar free to stop having to biofilms forming inside it. But instead, this time I just put a load of tabs in it and it helps immensely. So by the time I got to Knutsford, sat in the forecourt, and then kind of I'd realised that I had been awake for, by now it's what, midnight on Saturday. I woke up at 6:45 6:45, 5:45, 5:45 on the Friday. So that's a long time to be awake without sleep. And I dozed off for about 20 minutes just on the forecourt, just sat there. Luckily, it was safe. There was no one around. It was cool. Then got back on the bike, started going through from Knutsford services, and I was going in towards Knutsford or Winsford, I think it was. And it was there was a red light ahead. There's another rider out, and this time in the morning. So it's kind of, well, who are they? What are they doing? Are they like me, or are they kind of something else? Is it just somebody who's been on a night shift going home and all the rest of it? So I ended up kind of like catching up with this red light, the other cyclist. And as I was riding to go along, and he was like, all right, mate, all right. So I had a bit of a chat, and this is the way he very proudly went, I've had 8 pints. I've been at a house party. It's like, I couldn't drink 8 pints. So I don't know if he was more impressed that he was still upright on a bike after 8 pints, or that he was impressed that I was still going after being in Nottingham the day before and doing the whole work day and all the rest of it. It's like mutual respect, I think. So after that, it was kind of like I left him and then went into some of the more expensive parts of Manchester, down at Alderley Edge and that area where definitely there's a lot more footballers around. Price of the car went very high. It was nice to see all the bars and things, all the rest of it was still open and people were out and but nicely socialising, kind of like the socialising that people like, not the yobbish, drunken British person who's fighting in the street kind of thing, but really people chilled out, having a nice weekend outside. That was nice to see. After that, it's going towards Marple. I started to have mechanical issues with my bike. So one of the things is that I had to do the rear mech and all the rest of it to make it so I got lower gear for climbing. However, something was kicking the chain off, so I think the chain needs some attention. I've got a new one that's arrived today, so I'm going to sort it out over the weekend. But it was definitely not mechanically fit, and I knew that after Glossop I was going to have to do the Snake Pass. At the same time, one of the things that I had been working on was a little box which is a USB charger from the Dynamo Hub. It's a kind of like a backup thing. I realised that when I was setting off that certain batteries that I was going to be dependent on weren't charged, so I could actually charge on my riding, which is brilliant. However, my battery for my phone was getting low. My battery bank hadn't charged, and the USB device from the Dynamo works best when it's daylight, as in you don't have to have the light on and charging. You can put all that energy into the battery rather than trying to charge it, having it split. It doesn't seem to work as well. It's only a personal thing. On Lel, I've got battery banks on hire, so it won't be an issue. It's almost like a backup plan. It was nice to try and develop it and play with it and do it. Did it for a couple of quid compared to the hundreds of pounds that an official one would be. So that meant that once I'd gone through Marple, that's where I was. Marple, had mechanical issues. There's a few climbs there. I wasn't that far from Glossop, so I thought, right, well, I'd done 550 or so kilometres by this point, which is a reasonable distance. I'd done all the objectives that I wanted to do. So I went to my parents' house and I slept there for the night, and then I could then get collected on Sunday with the rest of the family and go for a pub meal and all the rest of it and have a nice time on Sunday. So that was the long distance ride, which it did exhaust me. It was, no deny, it was 550k. But it was beautiful. It was a wonderful ride. I really enjoyed it. It was a really positive one. It was a one to bank in the memories of things that I've seen, experienced, people I chatted to. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Which then means that's my last long ride before Lel. So this week, which is the whatever week this is, has been, part of it has been recovery, part of it has been bits in preparation for 8 days' time. So Monday I was in here, did a casual 30 minutes on Zwift. It hurt quite a bit-ish. It was very low power, but I could tell there's a lot of fatigue that was in there. Tuesday was 2 hours. Oh, that was it. Tuesday I went out and I decided for some reason I'm going to take the Genesis. I'm going to take the heaviest bike with the tiredest legs and see how it goes. So it can either go one way or the other. It went both and then went one way. So Setting off, it was like, oh, what my body going to be like after all that stress the weekend. Part of it is like I almost had muscles that are going, come on, full bro science, yeah, shred it, go on, really. And the other part was just like a goth girl being asked to go to the prom, and just like, no, no. And I think by the end of it, the goth girl going no won out. The first hour was nice. The second hour was certainly no. So I did that. It was nice actually, kind of like to chill out a bit and go into one or two little villages that I often ride through, but actually kind of go, actually, I don't have to ride through. I can actually have a look and see what the village is like. And some of the little villages, yeah, maybe at some point we'll sell this place and move out there. Nice, yeah. So that's Tuesday. Wednesday in here again, 30 minutes recovery. Thursday morning was due to be 2 hours on the road and see if I'm starting to come back to life again. Physically, I think of eating something spicy or something that's disagreed with me. Certain things need to be closer to home. So Thursday morning, I opted not to go out on the road just in case. So I was in here 2 hours and I did intervals and it hurt. Certainly still some of the fatigue was in there, but it's starting to feel better. Then Friday was this morning, or it is Friday today. I opted to take out the old Concorde and go out for a ride. There's somebody else's route. Ian Long, by the way, I nicked your route from years ago. There was a ride that you'd done, and there was a route, bit of riding I hadn't done, but it's about the right length for a morning ride. So I thought, right, I'm going to do that because I haven't been through those bits of roads. So I nicked your ride from years ago this morning. Thank you, Ian. And oh, it was awesome. It was just great. Weather has been perfect. I thought it was going to be cold with the mist and sitting in the valley. However, once I got onto the plains, it was just burnt off. It was beautiful. Some of the roads that linked together were really, really nice. Legs just flowing, really good. The bike, I still love my Concorde. It's still brilliant. It still brings me a lot of joy. Even if I had a super bike, even if somebody gave me the pinnacle of super bikes, I still enjoy riding the Concorde. Only minor thing was that I had a pinch flat on the way back, so I fixed that and came back again. But apart from that, feeling really positive. It also means that my body is kind of flushed through what was end of last week in terms of the stress and from the fatigue, etc. Starting to come back into the point where I'm starting to feel really positive again, feeling really good about it. My weight at one point after, I think I burnt 17,000 calories, I think it was on Friday, Saturday. When I weighed myself on Monday, I'd gone up, but I know that was a couple of kilos, but I know that was going to be water retention in the muscles. By this point now, I think by Thursday, I'd lost that water retention and that flushed out my muscles. So today, I'm actually back to my normal weight-ish in preparation for next week. However, next week is going to be try and taper, eat, and get some weight back on again. Because my butt feels very bony. It feels extremely bony. So I want some padding. That was good. The only other one that I've done last night was taking my daughter up to the climbing centre because it's just good fun. It's Nottingham Climbing Centre is great. I love that place. It's a brilliant place. My confidence and my ability to climb has probably gone downhill because I haven't climbed for so many weeks. And I am slightly conscious about would I damage myself or do something stupid. So I was definitely on the lower grades and still definitely all dropped all the way back down again. But it is just a brilliant place to go and have fun and yeah, awesome. So that's where I am at the moment. It feels pretty awesome. Oh, I better get onto a call. So that's more updates for this week and the excitement about what's going to be next week, but I'll do something else on that.